Alright, good morning, guys. Welcome to all my loyal viewers. Not sure if I have any of those yet, but there might be maybe one person who's looking forward to this content. We are going to be streaming a couple Underdog drafts today. As you guys know, if you are obsessed with best ball, the schedule has released. So we do know our kind of money week schedules of teams. So that would be the week 15, week 16, week 17. Really all comes down to that. All the prizes are awarded on those weeks, the big prizes, so especially week 17. So yeah, we'll see how the best ball landscape has changed with this very important new information. Yeah, we got some bye weeks too, so I'm sure we'll see ADP shift slightly here and there. I've already done a couple drafts last night. I think DraftKings did a promo where they, kind of gave you a free entry if you draft a certain time. So I did one there. Noticed some people already stacking the Bengals Baltimore game. So I saw a guy, take Chase at 3. He pulled up Flowers and then, brought, I think, a Jackson and Burrow along with the ride. So probably see some of that before things get settled. I'm trying to think what else stuck out. Maybe I noticed a lot of people love Justin Jefferson on Minnesota, so I can expect to see him go maybe earlier, and then because then you can get either Jet there, kind of coming around the third round. So Brees or Garrett Wilson. So yeah, just two things thought about, but it seemed like some good matchups. A lot of people were already saying to fade Philly because of their tough week 15 and 16. So we'll see. I'm not really too worried about any of the teams or schedules at the moment. Just gonna see what happens. Yeah, just gonna see what the market thinks and kind of go off of that. But yeah, if Philly's gonna drop because they're playing the Texans in week 16, then I will be buying. I already have a lot of Jalen Hurts. I think he's a well-priced guy, so if he drops even more, I'm just gonna have more. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's do a BBM. I have 31 completed right now, so pretty good pace. I do like to draft early. Not really sticking to any schedule, but I do want to get them done as quickly as I can. Hopefully no drafts in August is usually what I like to do. Just kind of end in July at some point and get the chips in and see how it works out for us. So we're gonna go ahead and enter a draft here. Waiting on 4. Nice PGA Championship morning. It's like tough conditions out there. One of my guys this week, Shane Lowry, saw him shank one in the pond on 17. So I was like, all right, I think it's time to do some best ball drafts because, yeah, should be a good win player, Shane Lowry, you'd think. But yeah, the guy is not loving it out there. Another one of my guys, Jacob Bridgman, yesterday. I think it was, the first 6 holes are supposed to be easy. He was +5 through those first 6 holes. So yeah, it hasn't been the best week out there on the PGA streets for me, but good turnaround. A lot of golf to play, but I only played one lineup, so not too worried about it. One more person. It's filling pretty quickly. Looks like today is Endangered Species Day. So to all who celebrate that, happy Endangered Species Day. Thank you, Microsoft, for that. All right, let's see where we are here. We're in the 10 hole. I do enjoy kind of the later. I mean, I haven't really. I think I said this on the other stream. I don't really have like a favorite spot yet, or I think it's all kind of viable. I think at this point, it's kind of still feeling it out, even 30 drafts in. But yeah, 10th hole is fine for me. Any good names in here? Let's see. Nothing really funny. Seen much funnier, so a little disappointed with that, but we'll see if anyone has any crazy strategies or wild stuff here. Typically when this schedule stuff comes out, people overplay certain matchups and all that good stuff, so we'll see how that plays out, or if people just draft more on the smart side. Let's see how Wineal Meat starts off the draft here. Bijan, okay. I am a Gibbs guy at 1, but we'll certainly take Bijan at 2. Chase at 3, all right, very standard. Puka at 4. Don't really expect that start to change much, obviously, without an injury. I think it's pretty clear who the top 5 guys are. You can kind of change the order a little bit, but yeah, I think those are the clear top 5 guys in the league right now, as far as who can just put up 40 and bury you in any given moment, which is, scary for week 17 if you don't have those guys, but not much we can really do about it in 10 hole. We're just gonna try to make it up in other ways. Jefferson at 8, okay. Sometimes I see him going earlier. St. Brown, so yeah, very standard start here. I will stick with my standard 10 hole guy, which is James Cook. He gets the Miami Dolphins in week 17, so we do like to see that. At Miami as well. Guess it really doesn't matter, but I guess we'd probably rather see the Miami defense cold in Buffalo, but Miami up-tempo game is not bad either. So Lamb at 11, yeah, very standard so far. Barkley at 12. Ginty, definitely would like to have seen Ginty fall. Achane. I wonder if that Cook Achane is going to be like a normal stack as far as just stacking that game, but all right. So Kenneth Walker, come on down. Very standard start. Nice to see the bye weeks. Thank you, Underdog, for that quick update there, because no one likes frantically searching for bye weeks. It's not really fun. Just trying to figure out all the week 15, 16, 17 correlation. Nice to just quickly have the bye weeks available there, so thank you. So the Chiefs, they have New England, San Francisco at the Chargers, week 17. Pretty nice looking schedule. Kenneth Walker is a guy who, should be pretty involved in the passing game as well, so, not too worried about the matchups too much with him. He could, they fall behind early, he can give you points in the passing game if they're, playing from ahead. Can get 25 carries easily. So, yeah. Pretty matchup resistant there. It doesn't really matter about that. If you guys have watched my other streams, very running back early leaning. So, not really much has changed there with the schedule. Just reinforces James Cook, I think, is a good 10th pick with Miami. And then Walker, very, very good pick in the second round. Let's see if anything crazy is happening. Derrick Henry goes pretty early. Marion Hampton at 17. Chase Brown, Bowers, London. Rasheed Rice at 21 is a nice pick. Pickens at 23. Who does Dallas have? Dallas has Rams, Jacksonville, Giants in Week 17. So also pretty nice matchup. But you know, everything sounds good at this point in the season. Obviously, you like domes. You like what are thought of to be good offenses. But you know, who knows? Week 17, how it's going to shake out. Injuries, snow games, quarterback injuries. Who knows? So. Got McBride at 25, Nico. Yeah, pretty standard here. This is where I've seen people like pull up Flowers, but yeah. Sharp. It seems like a pretty sharp room. No one's doing anything crazy. Devontae Smith early, so we got a pretty aggressive receiver room for this guy. Philly does not. Philly. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say Philly does not play any of those teams in the playoffs, so he's not trying to stack. Looks like just hammering receivers. Same with Danny. Who does New England play? New England, KC, Jets, Denver. So yeah, just hammer receivers as well. Josh Allen at 30 to Josh. Let's see. At 34, I would love another running back like Javonte would be pretty cool. Or Jacobs or ETN. Seems like a pretty receiver leaning room early here. Jacobs at 32 feels pretty good. There's ETN. All right, back to me. So go ahead and grab Javonte Williams here. So yeah, 3 different buys. That's always nice. Did a lot of these type of starts in my, previous drafts. So glad I'm not like destroyed by bye weeks or anything. So definitely want a receiver coming around at 39, and there's tons of options here. Dallas, KC. Let's just quickly look through here and see if we see any blatant like good matchups in the playoffs. Rams, Jags, Giants, KC, New England, San Francisco Chargers. So I guess I know I do not like Lab McConkey much, but it kind of makes sense. Sure, we'll see some Lab McConkey with Walker as a pretty chalky correlation. So I got the guy that I really wanted, which was Garrett Wilson. Go ahead and grab him there. The Jets have the Cardinals, New England, and Minnesota in the money week, so pretty good. Also, I like the guys that kind of open up later quarterbacks as well. Not a bad thing to have as in your back pocket. So Burden at 40. That's going to be probably pretty standard practice with St. Brown because the Detroit is playing at Chicago week 17. So I think Burden is going to be pulled up a bit because of that, because he's, very similar to the receivers he goes around at this point. Probably we'll see Loveland definitely, I wouldn't say come up, but I think if he's in this range, he's definitely going to go with the Gibbs guy. That's a pretty decent stack as well. So Jalen Waddle, 47. Who does Denver play? They play New England, Buffalo, Vegas. Maybe the guy just likes Waddle. Seems a little early for Waddle. Nice standard start. Chase, Love, Hall, Scatabo, Adams is a nice start. From Jeteric, Deeps. So for me at 58.63, looking for fallers. Don't have a lot of Lamar already goes. I was gonna say Lamar hasn't really fallen to me at this point yet. Definitely take him there. Definitely take a fourth running back because I don't love the receivers. What does Jaden have? Atlanta, Minnesota, Jacksonville. I do really like Jaden Daniels coming around, so taking a lot of him. DJ Moore goes. Just keep hammering Jadarian Price. 4 different buys is very nice. And I'll probably stop there. Running back room, just go hyper fragile. They get at Carolina week 17, so I definitely like that. Yeah, not a lot of changes here. It seems like a very standard draft that I've been doing the last, 2 weeks. So got Burrow. So if someone's setting up a Higgins, Flowers, Burrow stack, probably be pretty chalky. Those guys going in that range. Do I have any preference at receiver here? Rome. I mean, Tyson, Tampa, Arizona, Atlanta. That's a pretty nice little run there for Jordan Tyson. I don't think I have much of him, so let's go ahead and grab him here. Probably pairs well with Wilson. So Jaden goes after him, which is probably who I would have taken without him there. I don't love Brian Thomas or Marvin Harrison. I think they're probably going around too early. Both of those guys, or at least around. So Philly has San Francisco week 17, and Twitter's already calling them the toughest matchup. Week 15 and 16, Seattle and Houston. Not too worried about it at this point. Who knows? They were good defenses last year, but a lot can change. So we got Caleb. Just going Caleb. Which is fine. I do that too. Yeah, pretty good spot for him at 72. Yeah, everyone's kind of standard drafting. This guy still doesn't have a running back, Markey. He has a stack. He got 3 or 4 solid receivers, so maybe setting up like a 0 running back type build. You probably would start here with a running back. Yeah, Pollard. Okay, pretty standard 0 running back start guy. Josh Shanine already has 2 quarterbacks, Allen and Jackson. So he took the first 2 quarterbacks off the board. He goes Parker Washington with his second receiver. We have a Herbert McConkey start for Ed Mayer. Chargers are playing the Chiefs, so I might look to add a Chief later. Metcalf at 90. So I'm still looking for a quarterback at 80. I think we'll go ahead and grab Mr. Dak Prescott here. Dallas has a nice gauntlet there in domes in all 3 games. So at LA Rams, home to Jacksonville, home to the Giants. So I do like Dak and Javonte. Yeah, I feel pretty good about everything right now. I don't got a lot of fan in already. I want to smooth that exposure out a bit. So I think double tapping Dak and Trevor is going to be pretty easy for me to do a lot, if that is how it shakes out here with ADPs. They do play in week 16, and Jacksonville has Washington in week 17, so I do like both of those spots. And then obviously Jacoby Myers, one of my favorite values, potentially could come back here, but probably not. I mean, that's okay. There's other stacking options, or just, don't necessarily want to, need a stack there either. So, but yeah, 2-4-2-0. You can hammer tight ends later. Both Ferguson and Brenton Strange are easy guys if I do want to stack those spots. So yeah, this gives me options. I like to have giving yourself options, you know, in the later picks is what all you really want, because yeah, it's pretty easy to fall asleep at quarterback in these rooms because they do go these in the 8th, 9, 10 they go pretty quickly, and people don't want to fall behind too much, especially when you already have, you know, a guy that's already started out with Allen and Jackson. It's a lot of draft capital tied up pretty quickly there. So yeah, people are gonna feel like they're gonna fall behind. We have May, Bo Nix. Guy to my right has not drafted a quarterback yet. He probably would have taken Dak for sure. He probably is looking at Tyler Shuck now as a starter, but as his, you know, first quarterback. But see if anybody starts panicking. We have Mahomes, Dart going here. Dart at 98 is seems like a very nice value. Our boy Michael Pittman went pretty early, so that's a very nice pick. Do love Michael Pittman. Matthew Stafford. Unstacked. Oh no, sorry, with Devontae Adams. I like that. A little less common than Nakua. So what are we looking at here? Kind of like I'm kind of opening up to George Kittle a little more as like a tight end 1. Probably push him to 111. So I think we'll just grab the best receiver available here, which I would like to be Pittman, but he's not here. Does Worthy make any sense? New England, San Francisco Chargers, not really. Yeah, Ricky Pearsall. That's fine. Don't hate him. Has some upside there. Could be a good early season option, especially if Kittle starts off slow. This guy does not take Shuck, but he might here. Yep. Okay, back to me. Let's see. San Francisco does play Kansas City in Week 16, so I don't hate grabbing Worthy here. Probably won't have a ton of Worthy this year, but yeah. Pairing with Walker, little teammate stack there. Does help with this Week 8 bye situation I got going on here with Tyson and Pearsall. So yeah, probably with a little Xavier Worthy dart throw. KC is playing at the Chargers, so nice dome game. Week 17. No, typically I'm starting with more, at least a tight end at this point, but I'm not, you know, not opposed to just grabbing like 3 or 4 guys here coming around. Honestly, it's kind of where I start to like guys a little more. Laporte or Andrews at 115 is on the early side for sure, and he already has Bowers, so interesting. The 2 guys to my right have 0 tight ends, so I definitely want this pick to be a tight end. But yeah, I feel good about my quarterback room to stop there or to potentially add a third down the line. You know, one of my favorite players is Kenyan Sadiq, so if I do get him at 130 or 135, you know, double up Jets could definitely bring in a Geno double into play later, which I'm taking a lot of. So let's see, the Jets have Arizona, New England, Minnesota, so seems like a very nice playoff schedule for them as well. Seems like a lot of, you know, good schedules. I don't see anything that really stands out at this point in the season as to, like, you know, change any dramatic strategies with the schedule, but, you know, see what the market does. This guy's got 3 tight ends, so he has Bowers, Kincaid, and Andrews, so don't hate it. Don't hate the strategy. JT's a good start. Don't love Chuba Hubbard, but especially as your RB2. But yeah, if Chuba Hubbard outperforms, then he could be sitting pretty with that start. Willis I do like as well. That's a good pick. All right, so like I said, we're gonna take a tight end here. Don't want to lean too heavy into KC with Kelsey as well, but let's see. The Giants have Dallas, so I think we're going to go ahead and grab Isaiah Likely as a Week 17 stack with Dak. That makes sense there. And then, like I said, another tight end will be coming around to me here. So I grab Shaheed. 6 receivers, and still no tight ends for him, so I'm guessing this is probably a tight end pick. Kelsey at 132 to J. Dale and Goddard, so back to back. This guy, let's see what he does. Does he have... Okay, he doesn't have... He has QJ. Maybe he wants to grab Gadsden. Hopefully he stays away from Kenyon Sadiq, but we'll see. All right, he grabs Garnold. So we'll go ahead and grab Sadiq here. So yeah, Sadiq and Likely is a very nice kind of start there for me. I'm fine with that. Opens up Geno. These 2 picks as a 3rd quarterback. Definitely will grab a 3rd tight end at some point, and then depending on who that is, maybe a 4th tight end, maybe a Terrence Ferguson. You know, late tight end 4, but it doesn't have to be as well. Just flexibility. I like having flexibility. You know. If there's a really good follower here, don't want to, you know, lock myself into having to take Geno, but obviously do prefer 3 quarterback builds when it makes sense. But I think that's why I like, you know, the hyper fragile running backs is just gives you a lot of flexibility. I don't have to worry about, you know, taking contingent running backs in this point. You can just kind of take kind of luxury picks of, you know, more tight ends, more quarterbacks, whatever's kind of available. So I already feel pretty good about my receiver room. Wilson, Tyson, Pearsall, Worthy is fine. You know, one above average receiver, kind of alpha of the room. Tyson could be that, you know, probably a weekly decent floor guy, so fine wide receiver too. Pearsall and Worthy, kind of weekly flyers, potential spike week candidates, but not going to give you the worst floor either on a week-to-week basis. So Aaron Rodgers goes pretty early, 147. So definitely makes me feel better about my quarterback starts. Have 2 guys that have 1 quarterback, so it definitely makes me more inclined to take Geno, just to put a little more pressure on those maybe bad quarterback rooms. Don't want to give them any outs later, and also just complete my double stack. It's always nice. So let's see what tight ends are going to be available in receivers. Jalen McMillan, decent faller. Doesn't really fit any. I mean, he has some correlation with week 15 with Tyson, but not super exciting player. I kind of prefer these guys down here. Henry goes, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and lock up Brenton Strange as a 3rd tight end. I like that spot. With Trev Dog. Yeah. So now, do I want to take a Las Vegas receiver? Las Vegas has Denver, Tennessee, Arizona, so nothing correlating yet, but not necessarily have to. Feel pretty good with Trevor and Dak, so Tucker goes. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Naylor here. I do like Naylor quite a bit. think he's a very good pick at this point. And then, yeah, we'll see if Gino, you know, I have Sadiq, I have Garrett. Obviously, the Breece Hall guy might see what the Breece Hall's guy's situation is looking like. He has 3 quarterbacks, so he's not going to be looking at Gino, I'm assuming, but you never know. There is the guy with the 2 guys with 1 quarterback, so they might just grab Gino. But that's okay. Like I said, I don't need Gino here. I think Naylor's just a better pick there. If Gino comes back at 178, happy to grab him. If not, just stick with 2 quarterbacks. Flexibility is good. I did need a third tight end there. You know, Sadiq is probably going to start off the season pretty slow as a rookie. Likely, you know, brand new team. Obviously has good upside. I like the spot for him, but you know, doesn't offer the most floor week to week. So yeah, I think Strange is fine to give Lawrence a partner there. We still have a Dak. Well, we have Dak with Javonte, but have a true stack with Dak as a late pick with Flournoy. So definitely keep an eye on that. Maybe even at 183, probably makes sense. But we'll just see if Gino, you know, what happens with Gino here. So J-Trick kind of pulls up Rodgers and Jeremy. So interesting. His Pittman as well. I do like Pittman. So this guy's just bullish on Pittsburgh. Also has Warren and Daniel. So yeah, just seems like a stack conscious drafter, which is fine. More of a stack when it presents itself. Not really necessarily pulling guys into stacks, but could see either way working out. Wow, Gunnar Helm 173. Do not like that. This is the kind of room I don't want. Juwan, Hawkinson, Gunnar Helm. Trying to avoid that at all costs this year. Those kind of just low floor, low ceiling options. All right, so back to me. It looks like Gino is still here. I'm going to go ahead and grab Gino as a third quarterback. Love that pick at 178 with Garrett Wilson and Sadiq. Love that. So, yeah, come back around. Let's see what receivers are looking here. Definitely Flournoy. Would love that if he's here. What running backs are here? Nothing interesting. So, yeah, I think Flournoy would be a great pick if I can get that to come back around. This guy grabs Jacoby Brissett at 180 as his quarterback 3. So, yeah, we'll see what Winile Meat is up to here with 1 quarterback. And potentially, I mean, yeah, not much. This guy does go up Flournoy, so that doesn't feel great. Got a couple options. I don't hate another running back on this team, so I think Mike Washington fits in pretty well there as just a contingent upside. Yeah, just needs an injury, 1 injury away from absolutely smashing, so I do like those kind of guys. Not much behind him on the Vegas depth chart, and he was a combine standout, so I think he slots in right away into the running back 2 role. Probably offers a little bit. Don't really need much from him on a week-to-week basis, but I do like Las Vegas's schedule. You know, at Arizona week 17, if he somehow is the lead back with a Genty injury, that would be, yeah, very good. And I can just, I think, lock this team up with 2 receivers next coming around here. I don't need another tight end. I think I feel good about that tight end room. Feel fine with the receivers I have. Just kind of take 2 flyers there. Let's see. I would love Malachi Fields on the Giants to come back around as a nice run back option. You know, with especially with the Neighbors injury, we have Slayton coming off an injury. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about Darnell Mooney. I think he is horrible. So, I think Mr. Malachi Fields could definitely work his way into a nice role there. And then, let's see, what other receiver would I be looking at? Is Ferguson gone yet? He has not. So I could have a fourth tight end as well. Let's see, what's Atlanta got going on? Washington, Tampa, New Orleans. I wouldn't hate Zachariah Branch as a flyer to pair with Tyson. Don't have any of him yet. I have him on DK, but not on Underdog. So, yeah, he's getting a little buzz. There's Malachi Fields, who would have been my preferred option. So, a good pick there. Mooney sucks. Do not like that pick. All right, back to me. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and grab Zachariah Branch as a flyer. See what role he has, kind of guy in Atlanta. Does pair well with Jordan Tyson and potentially a Week 17 kind of shootout. Fine with that. And then, let's see, who's Miami play? Green Bay, Chargers, Buffalo. So yeah, I think maybe Malik Washington's an option here, but kind of know what he is. I feel like he's probably a better DraftKings click. I also have Adonai Mitchell if I want to triple Geno. Probably do that because I think Adonai Mitchell is just too talented to be going with Troy Franklin's of the world and Malik Washington. Yeah, let's just go ahead and grab Adonai. Thought about Caleb Douglas as well, but you know, I think Mitchell's just, like I said, too talented to go at pick in the last round. I just think he is. So let's see how everybody else ends the draft here. Dulcich, Kalon Black, Sean Watson. Winile Meat is still rolling with just Caleb Williams. So we'll see if he tacks on a second quarterback or is he just rolling with Caleb this year. So once this ends here, we'll go ahead and recap and then get into our second draft of the day. But yeah, really like this team. Nice 3-5-7-3. Wow, Eli Raridan at 191 is... Alright, so yeah, Winile Meat just triples down on not wanting a quarterback. 1773, just Caleb. So he's just rolling with Caleb. And he only has Kyle Monunga to pair with him. So pretty interesting. Maybe he's playing that Caleb's going to run a lot of touchdowns this year and just kind of turn into like a Jaden Daniels type season. Interesting. All right, so let's recap the team here. We have a 3-5-7-3. Dak Prescott, Trevor, Geno, quarterbacks. Love that room. Differing buys is very nice. Not necessary, but does feel good when it works out that way. Running back room of Cook, Walker, Javonte, Price, and Washington. All different buys. Big plus there. Didn't necessarily mean to do that, but like I said, when it works out that way, is very nice. Have Garrett Wilson, Jordan Tyson, Ricky Pearsall, Worthy, Jalen Naylor, Zachariah Branch, and Adonai Mitchell. We have Wilson, Mitchell to go along with Geno, and we have I think that's the only stack we have. Yeah, it's the only true stack we have going on with the receivers. That's fine. Likely Kenyon Sadiq, Brenton Strange, tight ends. So we have Sadiq triple for Geno. So we're really hoping that the Jets kind of show out on offense this year. We have Likely as like a bring back with Dak and Javonte. We would have loved to get Flournoy, but also don't want to force him either. He's kind of a contingent guy anyway with Dak. He kind of needs an injury to really be a smash there anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, and Strange to go along with Trevor. So yeah, very very solid team there. Very happy with that draft. Let's go ahead and... So what I've been doing here is just kind of naming my teams by the quarterbacks I have and then the draft date. So this is a Dallas-Jacksonville Jets. And today is the 15th. All right. So yeah, very solid team. Let's go back to the lobby here and let's do another one. There's also a nice promo going on DraftKings, or I'm sorry, on Underdog, where if you draft 5 BBMs, I believe, in the last, I think it started on, let's see, today's Thursday. I think it started on, today's Friday, sorry. Yeah, I think it started on Wednesday. If you draft 5 BBMs from Wednesday to Saturday, whatever it is, you get a free one. So this will be number 4 for me for that. So I just need to do one more either today, tomorrow, whatever, and get a free draft. Promos are our friends these days. Need 5 people. Double check Twitter to make sure nothing crazy has happened in the NFL world between drafts here. Yeah, not seeing anything too crazy. Check the news feed here on Underdog. Yeah, nothing new. So, all right. All right, so waiting on 2. It's filling pretty quickly here. Alright, so nice full room here. Let's see what position we are going to get for this draft. The 3rd spot, love that. Any good names here? Let's see. So I think we just drafted with Danny, right? Danny and BWAX, I think. Let's take a look. So, yep, Danny and BWAX. All right, let's get some intel on these guys. So, BWAX, 2583. Nothing too crazy. Looks like he's kind of balanced drafter, let's call him. And Danny was a kind of 0 RB action here. Yeah, he went hyper fragile starting with Bucky Irving, so very anti-running back propaganda I see here. Pretty balanced. Oh, this was the guy that drafted the tight end room that I hate, which is the just no upside 3 tight end room. So, okay. All right. Not much to glean off of that, but oh, and I guess we missed our pick. But we got Chase, so we did not miss our pick because that's who we would have taken. I forget that Underdog starts pretty quickly after the draft starts. I know DraftKings it takes like 3 hours. It feels like. I think it's like actually 2 minutes, but that is the attention span that we have these days. All right, so we have Pops pulling up Amon-Ra a little bit. They play Chicago, so not sure if he has an angle as to why he pulled up Amon-Ra, but maybe he is targeting 43. I'm sure he's going to be targeting either Loveland or Burden. I'm guessing, but could be wrong. Yep, Danny starts with his love of receivers. Jefferson at 11 is actually a nice spot for him to go. That's where I would consider drafting Jefferson. So still would take Genty over him, but almost got to where I would take him. B-Wax goes with Walker, Genty. Very nice start. We'll see if Danny continues the wide receiver avalanche of picks, or if he is going to change his strategy up a bit here. He takes Achane, okay. Maybe more balanced build from him, potentially. Incoming. We will see. I know we're all very anxious. I do like Rice McCaffrey. It's a nice high ceiling start there. Could easily be the two guys you need, week 17. McCaffrey gets a home game against Philly, which is, you know, doesn't really need any script can really be a ceiling for McCaffrey. Could be come from behind, way ahead, doesn't really matter. That guy just is going to contribute every way possible as long as he's healthy. All right, let's come back to us here. We definitely want a running back. Yep, know exactly who we want here. Mr. Jeremiah Love, come on down. They get Las Vegas week 17 at home, so yeah. We'll just continue to draft him all year if he's here at, you know, the end of the second round. He's a great pick. Pickens, Collins, Brown. Let's see. So Josh Jacobs has Houston week. So that I do think that we're going to see a little bit of Breece maybe encroaching on Jacobs here, just because of the matchup. I do like Breece just as much as a player, and then yeah, at home in the cold against Houston doesn't sound like a good time. So I think that's one time where I am going to start pulling up Breece ahead of Jacobs. And no interest in McBride there, just because of love. You know, I don't love the Cardinals as a whole offensively, and I don't want to spend that much draft capital on a bad offense. But yeah, if I didn't start with Love there, I would have definitely taken McBride at 27. But yeah, just kind of a roster construction thing, really, more than a hate of McBride there. I think that's a situation where I don't really understand the whole, like, you know, I see Sims recommending like teammates. You know, I get it. If you know, if I was a big proponent of the just Arizona offense as a whole, I think it makes sense, but really not. I think Jeremiah Love's just more like a volume bet more than anything. I think he's gonna have a lot of volume, especially the end of the season. It's kind of my bet on him, and just kind of like an A-chain type role in a bad offense, just catching a lot of balls, getting a lot of carries. You know, A-chain goes early second for a reason, so kind of see Jeremiah Love fulfilling that role this year. With upside, he's great, you know, really good prospect profile. So yeah, but yeah, I don't necessarily love the Arizona's offense as a whole. I think their pace is going to be down. You know, I make comparisons to the Dolphins all the time. They're going to be very Dolphins-ish this year. Lose a lot of games, play slow, but, you know, the guy who's going to benefit from that is going to be Jeremiah Love. And the guy who's going to get hurt from that is the pass catchers. All right. So this guy does grab Burden ahead of St. Brown. Surprised he did not grab Low. I guess he has Bauer, so makes sense. Didn't lean into the stack there, so yeah, this is a pretty standard start for me here. Gonna grab my favorite pick on the board of Cam Scattaboo at 46. Giants get the Cowboys week 17 at Detroit, and then Cleveland is their playoff schedule. So do you like that? I do think he should be going ahead of Bucky. He's kind of already passed him. I was already kind of doing that early, but it's like he's kind of encroaching on Bucky with the injury concerns. Typically go running back here, but you know, don't hate. You know, with the schedule the way it is, kind of. I'm gonna try out Lamar here because obviously we have a Baltimore Cincinnati week 17. Don't have a lot of Lamar, so let's see what happens with Lamar build here. A lot of late stacking options with him. Obviously Andrews is pretty easy to get in. There's a very ambiguous receiving core outside of Zay Flowers. So yeah, there's some interesting bets to be made there. Probably, I have some late, last pick Bateman already. So I might want to differentiate a bet and take a Ja'Cory Lane or Surratt. Kind of like Lane. It's kind of like a Dolphin situation where, the Ravens literally drafted Lane ahead of Surratt. He kind of fits more into what probably Bateman gives you, but I mean, Bateman is a walking injury risk. Hasn't been very productive over his course of his career so far. So, and Lane's also the guy that is less drafted. So, all reasons why I'm more interested in him. Just like Caleb Douglas, the team themselves drafted him ahead of the guy that's going ahead of him. So, fine to lean into the variance there. Also, Lane is just more of a upside prospect. Surratt's big slot type archetype, not very fast. Andrews is already going to be kind of funneled a lot of those targets. I understand that. They sustained Likely and him last year, but new offensive coordinator. Probably see more 3 wide receiver sets, especially with was it Durham Smythe is the tight end 2? Yeah. So even if they do run 12 personnel with Smythe out there blocking, not going to be a target hog type. So yeah, Jacoby Lane is probably who I'm going to be ripping a shot on here, last pick of this draft. So yeah, just all things you should be thinking about when you're drafting. Always be thinking ahead, and yeah, even the downtime between picks, it's good to kind of make these decisions now versus scrambling at the end. You only have like 20 seconds for a pick. So, and yeah, like I said, not undrafted, basically free pick Jacoby Lane. Yeah, already kind of penciling him in as my last pick. All right, so let's get back into this round mindset. We have definitely want a 4th running back here. Let's see, anyone falling? Not really. I don't want Chuba Hubbard. Perfect. Ramondre Stevenson fits excellent as a 4th running back. And let's see. Oh, sorry, not Drake May. Ramondre. Let's look at New England's schedule. They get KC, Jets, Denver. All right, so we get a little correlation of week 16 with Brees. Chase, Lamar. All right. Probably want a receiver here. We'll see who falls to us. So Prescott. All right. So I kind of get my option here. I'm not gonna have a lot of Alec Pierce, but well, no. Yeah, I'm not gonna have a lot of Alec Pierce. Let's just leave it at that. Parker Washington. I think way more upside than Alec Pierce, but can see it. You know, Indy at Cleveland, not very exciting. Week 17. They do play Cincinnati week 16, so there would have been some correlation with Chase. But yeah, I just think I think Jacksonville has a very nice schedule. I do like Trevor in case he would ever fall. Probably not. But let's see. Jacksonville has... Where's Jax? They have Houston, Dallas, Washington. So yeah. Just prefer Washington there instead of Pierce, but... You know. Would click Pierce too. They're pretty close. All right, let's get back to the draft. 94-99. We could potentially take a falling quarterback like a Trevor. Could just start hitting receivers here. Probably what we'll do. We also could take our first tight end, like a Laporta type. Wouldn't be bad. Who do the Lions have? Minnesota, Giants, Chicago. Yeah, it's fine. Also, I'd be fine with the Harold Fannin. They would give me some Week 16 correlation with Baltimore. Yeah, we'll see. See what happens. Like I said, always good to think ahead. I like this running back room so far. Can stop there. All different buys. Can stop there or just take a kind of late contingent guy. Kind of like I did last round, so I'm typically doing. So flexibility is good. I already have Lamar, so don't need another quarterback yet, but could. Just, yeah, keep our options open. Just see how this falls to us here. Any wild builds? So BWAX, who we drafted with last round, is starting kind of the running back, wide receiver, just knock him out start. So no quarterbacks for him yet. GWB, no quarterbacks. There goes Trevor. So no fall on Trevor. Wasn't really expecting it, but, you know, can always hope. Pops also has no quarterbacks, so probably see a lot of ripping off of quarterbacks here. I mean, are there any quarterbacks that we even want here at 94? Probably not. Well, never say never, because if there is no good tight ends here, we might, or receivers, we might have to rip another quarterback. Mahomes with Rice, very solid. Tootin, Price. Wow, Price at 65 is a very nice fall there. I like that pick. McCaffrey, very nice start from GWB. Metcalf at 80, not terrible. All right, Jacoby Myers goes 92. That's nice because I don't have to think about him. He's one of my favorites. So Herbert slide. Okay, Herbert went. Don't have to think about it. Jackson Dart with Scattaboo would be kind of fun. But I also would just be fine pushing him around. I'm going to go ahead and go with our boy Michael Pittman Jr. as a wide receiver 3. Love that. Think he definitely should be going in this round and not over here, but that's just me. He's kind of like Cam Scatterbo. I think they're just going a half round too late right now, and I'm just happy to keep clicking them over and over and over again. All right, so this is definitely where I would go ahead and grab Jackson Dart if he's okay. Of course, not here. All right, I think this is where Josh Downs does make some sense. Well, how many tight ends? Never mind. I'm going to take out Pitts. I don't want to fall too behind at tight end. I think Kyle Pitts at 99 feels pretty good. Let's look at Atlanta's schedule here. Washington, Tampa, New Orleans. Very solid. Almost took Downs just from, you know, the week 16 Chase correlation. Also, I do like kind of, you know, there's some late Cleveland guys I don't mind. So week 17 Indy Cleveland would have been fine. But yeah, I think I'm gonna fall too far behind at tight end, and I feel good about our receiver room early. Obviously, I feel good about our running back room. So I think Kyle Pitts was the right selection there. Would have been nice to get Dart, but Zizou Zizou is starting with 3 early quarterbacks. You see this a lot where these guys just want to hit their stacks early, which is fine. You know, I do like skinny stacks a lot of times. So having 3 nice skinny stacks here with Prescott, Pickens, Neighbors, Dart, Nix, Waddle is pretty nice. Has a solid tight end Warren, has a stud in Bijan, and a pretty good running back too in Bucky. So yeah, very good start from Zizou. We'll see how he finishes his team. Probably needs to start hammering some running backs though, but pretty easy to do here. All right, so what do we want to do coming around the bend here? 118, 123. Does Baker make any sense in this team? Does have a week 16 Atlanta correlation, so wouldn't hate to just rip Baker here. Also, Kittle feels pretty nice at 118 range. Wandale, I don't want Romeo Dubs, do I, right? Yeah. Don't want Romeo Dubs. Aaron Jones. I think there's a pretty nice fall off from Kittle down to Ferguson Kelsey. So let's go ahead and grab Kittle. Wouldn't mind Baker, but obviously if he goes, this guy has 3 quarterbacks. He's not going to take Baker. I could also grab Malik Willis. I don't even have to grab a quarterback here, but yeah. So Baker goes to Klund. So these guys are pretty quarterback heavy early, which is fine. Yeah, like I said, just Kittle to Ferguson is just a Titanic of a drop. And likely. Okay. So I think we're going to go ahead and grab our quarterback 2, Malik Willis. I think he's a nice pairing with Lamar. You know, have a stud rushing quarterback. Let's add a kind of questionable rushing quarterback in Willis. I do like Miami. Like I said, late pieces. You're just trying to build late. Trying to give yourself late pieces constantly. Just kind of move. Give yourself, you know, give yourself picks that. Yeah, I already have my last pick penciled in. It doesn't even have to be Lane, I guess, now because I can grab Caleb Douglas, but we'll see. Maybe even Chris Bell makes sense instead of Douglas if he falls. Yeah, so always give yourself options late has been my key. And then just kind of making the luxury picks in this range. Kind of fallers, just guys that fit with your playoff correlations. We have a 2-4-3-2, so definitely want to add some receivers. Strong start at tight end. Would love maybe a Sadiq as a third, as always, but also don't need it on this team. Chase Parker, Pittman feels very nice. Yeah, Pitts. So let's see. San Francisco has Philly, KC, Chargers playoffs. Necessarily need to correlate any of that, but just always good to keep that aware. So, all right, let's see what we are looking at as what we'd like to fall to us here. None of these receivers really stand out. Just kind of Minnesota Jets. Maybe Juwan Jennings, Sadiq would feel pretty nice. As a week 17, yeah, I think that's a nice spot there. So let's go ahead and lock up Sadiq as our tight end 3. Perfect. Probably stop there at tight end. And then let's try to add Juwan coming around as a week 17 stack there. He's a fine tight end 4. Also makes this room, you know, no matching or no overlapping buys, which is ideal. I'm guessing Zuzu goes running back because he only has 2 so far, but never know. He grabs Jonah Coleman. Fine. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab Juwan here. So the plan worked to perfection. 2-4-4-3. It does give us Geno potential as a 3rd quarterback, or Aaron Rodgers as well, with good old Michael Pittman. So yeah, a lot of my, you know, seeing a lot of my favorite clicks here. Sadiq, Pittman, they just open up a lot of options, and that's kind of what we're trying to do in every draft. Just give ourselves options, know exactly what we want to do at the end. Multiple ways. I have, you know, multiple outs in my last round to complete stacks. So low rostered players. It's also very nice. I'm trying to win, you know, $2 million and beat how many teams am I trying to beat here? BBM. Trying to beat 672,000 people. You know, always going to side with guys that maybe are going undrafted at this point that have a great potential for playing time, like a Jacoby Lane 3rd round pick, or Caleb Douglas, also a 3rd round pick. Both were selected before. Both were the first receivers selected by their respective teams. So, but yet the market wants to take Chris Bell and Surratt over them. So, you know, are people just that much smarter than the actual teams that are drafting these guys, or does prospect profile just really mean nothing? Which is what I'm kind of saying here. All right, enough of that, but let's get back here. GWB is doing that, my hated strategy of Kelsey, Henry, Barner, just the dusty tight end room, which I hate, but a lot of people like to do it. All right, so I definitely want a receiver here. We do love Naylor. Yep, go ahead and grab Naylor here. Just think he's a really easy click every time as a wide receiver 5. Pairs him with Jeremiah Love for week 17. Love that. What other receivers would I like here? Probably Ridley, honestly. Just because he does fit with Michael Pittman. Let's do that. Well, yeah. Also Antonio Williams. We could swing for a little upside with Antonio Williams and Parker Washington. Let's do that. I have a lot of Antonio Williams. But hey, at 171, I'm interested in Antonio Williams. I think his ADP is a little too high at 160, but 171 will definitely take a swing. And then, you know, we're still incorporating the correlation there with Parker Washington in week 17. So, yeah, love that. Also have a little Kyle Pitts. This is actually a triple correlation. Kyle Pitts week 15. Juwan Jennings week 16, and then Parker Washington week 17. So triple layers of correlation. Love to see it. You know, could have taken Geno there, but Jackson Willis is a perfect quarterback room. Don't necessarily need a 3rd, and still have Rodgers in case if Rodgers does fall to 190, I'll definitely grab him there to pair with Pittman. So yeah, just give myself options and see how this plays out here. Got a 2-4-6-3. Like I said, Rodgers at 190 would be ideal. Could grab a running back, a 5th running back there, contingent type. And then yeah, probably an 8 receiver room. Does Terrence Ferguson make any sense on this team? Let's see. So the Rams play Tampa, Seattle, Dallas. So, you know, don't necessarily need to be correlated, but doesn't really correlate anywhere. So probably just stick with Pitts, Kittle, Sadiq as my room here. So I also don't even need a fourth running back. Let's see. You guys know that I love Malachi Fields a lot. I'd love to click him as well. Yeah, a lot of options. Like I said, give yourself options. Yeah, Rogers still there. All right, Rogers is not still there. GWB takes him as his third. So, am I stopping at 2 on this team? I guess Michael Penix. I don't think I need Michael Penix. Don't need Michael Penix. Let's just go ahead and grab any running backs that make sense here. Not really. I think Jerry Jeudy at 190 is too good to pass up. Yeah, there's just not many running backs I'm interested in here, so Flournoy. Hard to pass on Flournoy as well. I mean, like I said, just too many good receivers here. Actually, Sean Tucker would be the perfect 5th running back to this team. Yeah, go ahead, especially because Flournoy went. Let's go ahead and grab Sean Tucker. I think he's a really good pick on any site, but especially on Underdog where he kind of goes undrafted sometimes. Yeah, he's a perfect 5th running back for this team, especially because just kind of a game theory pick as well, just with Bucky Irving's ADP being so close to 46 in this range. Gonna be a lot of people taking Bucky and not wanting to double tap the Bucks backfield. You kind of anti-correlation bet there with your own backfield. You don't necessarily want to do that, but I think paired with Scadaboo here is perfect. Because, like I said, if Bucky's shoulder is not where it should be at this point or gets re-injured, whatever, yeah, there's not much high upside guys in Sean Tucker right now. Also, just could just be the goal line back. Who knows? Seemed like he got a lot of goal line carries last year, so perfect pick. So Surratt goes. So I mean, we have Bateman. Kind of less exciting. We kind of have a couple less exciting Judy, Naylor, Jennings, Pittman. Probably need a little upside. I think Jacoby Lane or Caleb Douglas offers that. Don't have either quarterback stacked, which is not a big deal, but yeah, I guess we'll see what the room gives us here. I think Caleb Douglas has more upside, just probably from a playing time perspective. So that's probably where we're going to go. But if he does go before that, we will go ahead and grab Jacoby Lane. We also have Chris Bell. Did not even expect him to still be here. He's been going much earlier, so definitely would take him ahead of Douglas just because of ADP, just because, I don't want 80% of Caleb Douglas, even if I think that he is just as good of a chance as to be the guy there in Miami. But yeah, from an ADP perspective, 214, Chris Bell will be the click for me. If not, it'll be Douglas. Malachi Fields is also still here. A lot of options. Carson Beck, wow. So Pops is double tapping Arizona quarterbacks to go along with Jared Goff. Very interesting. So there goes Malachi Fields. Very good pick at 212. Keyshawn Booty. All right, so yeah, Chris Bell. It's a nice fall. 214. I will take that all day. So I do not want to have, like I said, 80% Caleb Douglas, 0% Chris Bell. I do think that they should be much closer in ADP. So if Chris Bell falls down here, I'll just kind of alternate between the two. But yeah, I think it's a good final round pick. See how Klund ends the draft, and we'll recap the team here. But yeah, another very solid squad, a 2-5-8-3. Colby Parkinson. All right, so Klund does what I think is the biggest draft sin right now is the just ultra dusty, no upside tight end 3-click room of Strange, Freiermuth, Parkinson. Not how I want to play it this year at all. So, all right, let's recap the team. So from the 3-hole, we have a 2-5-8-3. We have Lamar, Malik Willis, very solid. A lot of rushing upside. Quarterback room. Running back room of Jeremiah Love, Breece Hall, Cam Scatabo, Ramondre Stevenson, and Sean Tucker. 4 solid guys, and a nice contingent kind of upside injury play that also plays off of where Bucky goes. A lot of people drafting from 3-hole are going to have Bucky this year, so kind of a double leverage spot there. Receiver room of Chase, Parker Washington, Pittman, Juwan Jennings, Naylor, Antonio Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Bell. So a nice mix of we have our 40-point stud potential that buries everybody. We have Parker Washington, Michael Pittman, very very valuable kind of more touchdown dependent upside guys. I mean, obviously Parker Washington, if he keeps up what he did last year with all the targets, we'll see about that, but I don't really necessarily expect that on a week-to-week basis. We have Juwan Jennings for some Breece Hall and Sadiq week 17 correlation. Also just probably a nice floor guy. Jalen Naylor, kind of same thing. A little week 17 correlation with Jeremiah Love. Antonio Williams gives us some rookie upside and a triple playoff correlation with Atlanta, Minnesota, Jacksonville. It's a very nice pick there. Also way past ADP. Love that. Jerry Jeudy is also correlated with Lamar Jackson. He's also kind of boring, but also could be a very decent pick if he, does have more of the target share in Cleveland than some people are thinking, which who knows. Still a talented player, I think. And then Chris Bell, really good final pick to pair with Malik Willis. Obviously, he's coming off an ACL tear. Some people have him as a first-round talent, so I like to bet on talent, but also don't love his like 180 ADP range. But yeah, as the last pick in the draft, I'm definitely willing to swing on him. Looks like a nice spread of bye weeks there. Not worried about that. And then to close it out, a very nice tight end room here, exactly how we want to draft it. Kyle Pitts, we saw last year, tons of upside. What did he put up, like almost 40 points in a week? At least 30 some points in that week 16, I believe, matchup against Tampa last year. So obviously he can carry you through any given week. George Kittle, guy I like to pair with a guy like Pitts because, we know what Kittle's upside is, obviously. Top 5 tight end perennially when he's healthy. He's going to be, says he's ready for week 1. We'll see. Definitely will be probably slow coming out of the gates. So I like to pair him with Pitts. Kind of give that floor there. And then Kenyon Sadiq, another exciting rookie who we definitely want as a kind of a playoff upside guy. Probably will start off a little slow as well. But no overlapping buys. We have Pitts to kind of come out of the gate strong, and then 2 big upside swings the rest of the season. So yeah, very good team here. And like I said, with keeping your options open is always nice. Lamar and Willis, neither one do I feel bad about not. If I had no guys stacked, not a big deal. They both, there's maybe besides outside of Josh Allen, the 2 guys that give you the most with their legs, obviously. So can both have, 25, 30-point weeks just with throwing one touchdown pass to whoever. So really doesn't need to be stacked. Yeah, very good draft. So yeah, that's how I'm attacking Underdog. Flexibility, we'll go ahead and name this one. All right. So 2 very nice drafts this morning. Not a ton has changed. Obviously, you guys are kind of seeing real time what I'm thinking about with all the schedules and everything. How you should be thinking it through. Didn't have a lot of Antonio Williams previously, but I do like him falling. I think these rookies like him and Chris Bell are gonna just kind of go as they may in drafts. Sometimes people are gonna force stack. Chris Bell will be force stacked a lot with Willis. I'm not gonna do that, so you can see him drop a little bit when the Malik Willis drafter is not necessarily thinking about having to grab Chris Bell, being more flexible. So yeah, happy with those swings there, and I think it's a well-mixed team. But yeah, we will be back probably tomorrow with more drafts. Yeah,